Welcome to a Healing Peace podcast. My name is Kimir Baker. I am an overcomer, writer, speaker, and God enthusiast. I am fueled by helping women achieve their emotional healing so that they can live the abundant life God has for them. In this podcast series, we provide faith-based inspiration to mend from emotional hurt, along with tools and tips for emotional wellness. In your journey, as you apply these tools and tips, you will begin to live the transformed life that you always desired. In fact, you will possess a new you. Hello, family. We are not done just yet with our segment on mindfulness. Before I begin, I got a question for you. Have you had moments where the small incidents in life drove you crazier than if something major or big happened? Well, I was having one of those moments. This past month, I have been fighting with ants. There are those things. You're like, this your story? I'm telling you, it's a great story. I'm telling you. Now, this is the season for them. Every year, they come back this time. But this year, I truly felt they gotten smarter. Last year, when they surfaced, I called the exterminator. He came out, sprayed, and then they went away. But oh no. Not this year. I called the exterminator. He came out and sprayed. And then about 3 weeks later, they came back. This time, I thought, I'm going to be smart. I'm going to bake them myself. I don't got time to get on the exterminator schedule for them to come out. I cannot stand these things. I got to get them out my house. So I baited. And you know what? They did go away. But instead of 3 weeks, they came back a week and a half later. I was like, come on. This is not your house. You ain't paying rent. Why are you in my space? I even told someone, man, the ants this year, they just smarter. I just don't understand. I feel like they mocking me. How in the world do they become immune to bait? Again, me being smart, I went and bought new bait. I was determined to get rid of them. I sprayed, and several days later, they went away. Again, I started getting a little prideful. I was like, pat myself on the back. Yeah, baby, they gone. That'll be too easy. This time, they came back about a week later. I was so furious. I spent the whole morning spraying everything in my house. Everything I can get my hands on, I'm spraying. I'm going at it. I'm shooting. I'm trying to kill these ants. By the time I was done, I must admit I was completely exhausted. And I barely started my day. I thought to myself as I laid down on the couch, I was like, why in the world do I need to take a nap? Because of ants. This makes no sense. These little tiny ants were beating me at war. After my new spray attempts, because remember, like I said, I sprayed the whole house. And as I was laying on that couch, I kept wondering, and I kept wondering. I thought about my war wounds. I'm like, oh, they getting to me. And while I was laying there, then it hit me. Every time it rains really hard, the ants come back. Yeah, they do. Why? The rain washes away the barrier to my house. I slapped myself on the face. I was like, all right, God, thank you for this information, because I really was losing my mind over these ants.
Now, as you've been listening, you're probably like, what in the world? You and your stories. You know, I love my stories. I can't help myself. But with these ants, it reminds me of personal growth or personal development. It requires persistence to conquer the nagging ants in your life. These ants may come in the form of family, friends, work, your emotions, and just plain old life. May I even add the pandemic? These ants, they come back, and they come back, and they come back. As you develop, you may learn some new tricks. And then these new tricks, you begin to see yourself strengthen. Your mind get a little strength. Your body start changing. Your spirit start going. But these new tricks, they don't always work. When they do not work, it is so easy to stop your development. You may think that it is taking all your strength. And what benefits are you really reaping? You may even get like how I responded with the ants, where you just like, oh, I'm tired. And you just lay down like, I just can't do it anymore. I'm tired of fighting. I'm tired of being at war. Not only am I tired, but why am I waging war anyway with something that's so trivial? Why are the ants winning? I totally understand this way of thinking. I have numerously said to God, God, I am just tired. I need a break. And I will say, sometimes our fatigue is not just from ants, but the mere fact that our barriers have been compromised. You see, you put all these great things into practice, all these new great habits, resting, exhaling, breathing, journaling, praying, all these great things. But then life just comes and it tears them down. And unfortunately, when we allow that fatigue to keep us from rebuilding our barriers, we stop long-term transformation. I want you ladies to be empowered, renewed, and strengthened. To continue to have victory, it is necessary to put things into place that creates a barrier against those ants, against that life, against that rain that's pouring. I'm about to replay the tools and tips from our 2 interviews in our mindfulness segment. Please take a moment to reestablish good patterns and behaviors that foster transformation. And if you're still jiving and you're doing well, yay! I'm here to encourage you to stay on that path. And having these tools and tips are just a good reminder that you're on the right path. Here's another good thing I'm going to do for you guys. I'm going to place the tools and tips on our website at ahealingpeace.com/tools. That's with an A, healingpeace.com/tools. Go ahead and put up that barrier which allows you to rest in God and have victories over challenges. Tools and tips, episode 16, I will not be afraid to rest. All right, let's get to it. Tip number 1. This is a good one. Just because, I'll say it again. Just because you spend time meditating on God's word does not mean that your life will be free from obstacles and people doing crazy things against you. Unfortunately, we don't get a free pass.
Number 2, to almost have a chance, you have to keep seeking God's face. You have to continually infuse your mind, spirit, and body with God's goodness. Number 3, just because you remember the scriptures does not mean that they will fix your problem. I had to fight to believe and make them real for me. Number 4, to have a chance, I had to slow down. Yeah, I did. I had to rest in Him. When I rested, I was able to hear that gentle whisper. It is so hard to hear God in the midst of the noise. Number 5, meditating on God allowed me to embrace who I was created to be, which includes my brokenness, because it ain't pretty. But to God, He has something good for it. Number 6, meditating on God allowed me to be more self-aware. I was also humbled by what God wants me to be for Him. Number 7, Jenny talked about how we store emotions and how we should practice releasing them. One method was crying. Again, I am a proponent of tears. I'm a crying sister. I spent time with Him so He could heal my heart in pain. Not only was I allowing God to work, but I was also releasing the emotional anxiety from my body. Number 8, I sure was doing my breathing exercises. Yes, I was. Why? This too helps to release those intense emotions. Go ahead. Just let it out. Tools and tips, episode 24, dealing with isolation. Tip number 1, of which I am actually going out of order. I asked the question in the second interview, how do we deal with anxiety, anger, and depression? The counselor, Beth's response was that these emotions are given to us by God to turn to Him for the answers. Do we ever think of our emotions given to us by Him so that we seek Him even more and ask Him for the answers? And I will say this, that God is not timid in answering questions or being sought after. He wants us to allow Him to draw the conclusions versus our own. Tip number 2, discover your own mantra, which helps you to calm down and breathe. For Beth, hers was stop, drop, and pray. Yours may be stop, breathe, and pray. But determine whatever works for you to pause. Basically, just to exhale so that your emotions are not winning. Thank you very much. Tip number 3, share your experiences and connect with other people. I surely liked how Beth cleaned up that misery loves company statement. For us, find support groups. I know this is a unique method of connecting because of us being closed into our homes, but I'm pretty sure that there are really great groups out there that are online that we can join so that we can be supported during this time. Tip number 4, Shift your thoughts from panic to gratitude. Think about things for Thanksgiving. Bev did an assignment where she wrote 1,000 things that she was grateful for. Get yourself a journal, write down and look for those good things. Tip number 5. Remember that you cannot control all things. This is a hard one, I'll be honest. Write down the things that you cannot control and then pray through them. When you do this, you place the responsibility back on God. He knows and He does care. Tip number 6. Break your replay thoughts, the thought train. By focusing our thoughts on gratitude through prayer, as well as moving toward a solution. Yes, the common thing, praying. If you haven't figured, we said it a lot. But yeah, pray it out. Tip number 7. Anger is the secondary emotion. Spend time instead discovering what the root cause of your emotion is. It may be a loss of control, fear, feeling hopeless. Dig a little deeper. Journal. Pray through those things. Tip number 8. This is an important one. Practice mindfulness. Do not judge your feelings or emotions as right or wrong. I do this all the time. Rather, take a deep breath. Then identify behaviors that foster peace. Praying, practicing gratitude, moving, physical movement, that does a lot. It does a lot. Move that body, shake a little, move. I'm getting carried away. Tip number 9. Focus yourself on healthy self-care by using the 6 F's. These items are faith, fellowship, fitness, food, healthy food, not crappy food, healthy food. Fun, sometimes we just need to laugh. And the last one in all that is family, good family dynamics. Finally, we made it to tip number 10. Back to 10 tips. Tip number 10, you cannot avoid grief. It doesn't work. You have to work through it. Yep, it's kind of disappointing, but that's the fact of it. How do we do it? Apply and reapply all the previous tips. Sorry to say, but yes, this completes our mindful segment. Just because we completed it does not mean that you cannot go back and enjoy it. As stated previously, we included the episode numbers and the titles so you know which one to take a complete listen to. We also have all of the episodes, including our wonderful music playlist, listed on our website. Feel free to go to A Healing Peace, that's healingpeace.com/mindfulness. Also, for those of you listening to us on our YouTube channel, we've created a playlist called A New You, Mindfulness. Come back next week for more great content.